All right, welcome back. You're watching India Tonight, and on to a big debate tonight. Maharashtra's FDA has asked McDonald's to not say cheese, quite literally. This comes as the news floats of the fast food outlet using cheese substitutes. McDonald's has come out with a clarification on the same, saying that they always adhere to stringent food standards. We'll go to the debate and our guest tonight, but first, let's go across to Abhimanyu Kale, FDA Commissioner. My colleague Aishwarya Patil spoke to him on the issue.
In that Ahmednagar outlet, we checked as our routine inspection, but it was found that they were using some food items which were not allowed to be published as it is. जैसे कि when if you use the word cheese, it should be 100% milk product, but they are using the word cheese, and in which they were using cheese analog. That's why they were asked to change the name, as well as the food FBO order was closed. Against that, they came to appeal to Food Safety Commissioner, and in our office order, it was upheld. So that is the case, and now they have changed the food items, food names, and they are adhering to these norms given by the Food Safety.
All right, let's now go across to our guest. Joining us tonight is Rekha Agarwal, a consumer advocate. Ma'am, thanks very much for joining us this evening. My first question to you is synthetic cheese, cheese substitutes. This is quite durable, cheaper. But this is great from the pursuit of profitability as well, but a major health risk. And I've grown up eating McDonald's as a 90s kid. So what do you think really led to McDonald's really resorting to not using, at least what is being alleged, not the actual cheese?
Obviously, the cheese analogs, cheese substitutes, cheese alternatives, whatever you may call them, are much cheaper and have got probably a better shelf life. And that is why McDonald's, a reputed company like that, has started using these cheese analogs. And I only wish that they had made it more clear in their electronic advertisements, as well as on the other advertisements that they have on the package or on the menu card, because these cheese analogs that they're using are not milk based. The very moment when you use the word cheese, it implies that it is made of curd. That is the impression that everybody carries, the normal man carries in his mind. But if you are using a cheese substitute which is made out of other alternate products, like for example, it may be made out of nuts, or it may be used by any other vegetable oil or any other vegetables, and very often it happens that people are partial to them. Some people are maybe having a vegan diet, but maybe partial to these kind of products which are being used. So I think a consumer has got a right to be aware of whatever he's buying. He needs value for money, and there should be no misleading an attempt to mislead or deceive the consumer. So the word cheese, it conjures up an image of a cow giving milk probably, and cheese made out of it. And we have all grown up envying especially the American kids who have been living on a diet of cheeseburgers, and now that they're available so easily in our own country, and a company like McDonald's, so once you spend your hard-earned money and probably you eat it yourself, or you give the money to your kids to buy these products, you expect that and you were right to expect that what you're eating, what is going inside your stomach, is something which is healthy. Now, whether these cheese analogs are healthy or not, that is a different argument altogether. Right. They may be not extremely unhealthy, but they may be unhealthy in the long run for certain people who have got allergies to a particular food product, for example,
absolutely,
nuts.
Absolutely. So it's very interesting that you bring out the health aspect of it. It's very interesting that you bring out the health aspect of it, Ms. Agarwal. But I also want to understand, let me play the devil's advocate here. You talked about cheese and the definition of it. Is there a lacune, is there a loophole as far as India's laws are concerned? I mean, we've seen any products that you see, the directions are very small, the ingredients are very small. In fact, we've also been speaking to industry insiders who say that as far as the law is concerned, that's not very clear. The definition of cheese is not very clear. What do you have to say about that?
Cheese is very clear. The cheese is anything which is made out of it is a milk product. There are not two ways about that. Cheese is definitely in the dictionary and in the legal terminology that we use, that cheese is made out of milk. There cannot be any other argument about that. And our Indian laws are not at all having any lacuna about that. I'm very confident about the laws that we have in our country. And if the FDA has cracked down in its wisdom upon a company like McDonald's for giving a rather cheesy description of the products that they're selling under the guise of cheese by saying cheeseburger, cheese dip, then they should not use the word cheese. They should say whatever dip it is. For example, it is like, for example, you have milk. Now, milk need not always be milk which is got from a cow. We have now soy milk, we have other substitutes
Absolutely.
like, say, almond milk. Then this cheese should be clarified by saying that this is not a dairy based cheese, but it is from any other source. For example,
Okay.
it could be from a vegetable source. As I just said, that our laws are not at all lacking in any
Right.
stringent action that they can take against such people who are actually, I would use the word duping or misleading the
Right.
innocent buyer who pays money to buy a cheese product. And cheese, by any imagination, by any legal argument, or even by the common man's argument, implies a milk based product. And therefore, that is why the FDA has
Right.
taken
So I
action against
agree.
it.
I
If there
agree
was
that you
any
say that you bring out the health aspect of it and the fact that, Indian laws are not really lacking. But let me also ask you, as a consumer, we may understand some of the legalities involved, but a lay consumer will not know the law. In fact, there is a product that I'm holding in my hand. I bought it on social media. It does not have anything that basically ensures, that basically says that it is FSSAI stamp. It has that stamp on it. How does a consumer really know? Because this incident has really opened a Pandora's box, and there are questions about the kind of food that we are eating, the brands that we are consuming.
that in the in the larger perspective, we have to appreciate the the Jago Grahak Jago scheme which has been started by the ministry, by the Department of Food and Consumer Affairs. The consumer has a right to be aware of what he is buying. He needs value for money. And that is why I would say that you're right when you said that common man may not be aware of such terms of FSSAI. But that is why more and more our government and the Department of Food and Consumer Affairs is taking a positive role in this matter, in this regard, in ensuring that people are made more aware of their rights. And there is a lot of publicity given about this. And that is why you will see that more and more on the backside of food products that we buy, certain directions are given regarding the ingredients, regarding the nutrition quotient of whatever the minerals, the vitamins, etc., that are going in our body. What are the number of calories what you're having? Some companies are indeed violating the standard which have been laid out by the government, and that is why, as in this particular case, FDA has come down heavily upon McDonald's because they're not displaying anything. So I think the need of the hour is that advertisements. If there were no advertisements, there would be no business. So everybody has to advertise, but at the same time, as a responsible, we have a corporate social responsibility also. And so therefore these big companies, I expect them to be
Right.
more aware. It is not just making profit,
Right,
but there
ma'am.
is a responsibility towards the common masses who are your consumers. Because ultimately, if there is no consumer, then the business comes to a
Right.
stop. And as the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, said that there is no business without a consumer. Consumer is king. I wish the foreign companies particularly realize this fact. Do not take us for granted. And whether it is the foreign companies or the Indian companies, the MNCs also should take a big important step in this regard. They're not just here to make money on the Indian soil, and make the people aware. And
Right.
after, I mean, I would
Right.
probably think twice before buying a burger which says that it is not based on a
Right.
dairy milk cheese, it
Right.
is based on a vegetable product. Now, if I still want to buy it, it is my choice. So I think that the
And
difference should be made
right.
aware to the common masses, and the government is the very fact
Absolutely.
that you need an
Absolutely.
FSSAI stamping on all the products that are imported in the country. Earlier, we would have this black market of chocolates and cheese. For
Right.
example, a very famous company like Kraft cheese,
Right.
that would be
Right.
flooded in the market,
Absolutely.
in the
Okay.
in the what is called the imported gray market, that we would all be probably going to in the 80s, and 90s. But now these things are
Right.
available
Right,
very
ma'am.
easily off the
Right.
shelf in all the markets, or even online. So even
Hmm.
e-commerce.
Right. Right. So essentially, ma'am, you're saying that companies need to value consumer wellness over profitability. And of course, consumers are being made aware by several of the government's arms. But in the end, this is one story that we at ET Now will be closely following. It is about consumer welfare.